Let me know. I want to see in the comments if you like the deal, if you don't like the deal, because I tweeted a poll that basically diluted it down to the Cardinals' involvement in this thing. You gave up Tommy Edman. You got Eric Fetti and Tommy Pham. Are you happy, Cardinals fans? Almost 1,200 votes on my poll on Twitter. 91.6% have said, yes, I am happy. And I think that's the right answer. The initial concern I had when this was coming out, and look, we talked a lot about this on the stream last night, right? The idea that, well, Tommy Edman could fulfill a role for the Cardinals. They need to be able to improve against left-handed pitching. It's something that they did not have so far this season. They're 29th in MLB against lefties in OPS and batting average. And Tommy Edman, conceivably, if healthy, could come back and help you there. Now, he's not healthy. By the way, like the stream, retweet me on Twitter. Let's get everybody in here. Let those comments flow through you. Join the channel membership if you're interested. Tommy Edman could have come back and helped the Cardinals against left-handed pitching. He has a career 803 OPS against lefties. However, he's not fully healthy yet. And it's been 10 months since his October wrist surgery. Do some quick math here. We're in July. It's been a long time. Cardinals thought initially back in January when we first found out this happened, they said, hey, he's going to be back sometime in spring training. Well, obviously setback after setback have taken place. And that never did come to fruition. And now you're in a spot where you got to maybe try to get something for him if you don't trust the position that he's in terms of his health. And I'm seeing that we're maybe not having a great connection. You can let me know if it's rough right now. I might have to try again on StreamYard if it does go sideways. I'll blast it out there. But if you just keep me updated on the connection stuff. I'm looking at it as the Cardinals didn't fully trust Tommy Edman coming back. And that's maybe not totally out of left field, right? Because it's been so long, it's so many setbacks. It's not that they're maybe frustrated with him personally, but it's a situation where you got to know, man, that the guy that you're holding on to is going to be able to help you if you don't pursue a deal like this. Tommy Edman's contract was basically structured to be able to do something like this because the team that gets in, the Dodgers, don't have to go, arbitration, what's he going to make? No. You know it's going to be 9.5 next year. So that allows you to make this move with a little bit of cost certainty on that end. Like the stream, we can get it to 50. And Damian throws in a super chat. Appreciate that. Damon says, yes, very happy. Get a reliever and we'll be good for a run. I would have liked to have seen John Brebbia come to the Cardinals for D.C. in this deal. Austin says, with this, does D.C. get traded? Does Lynn move to the pen? Is this the big move? It's the biggest move they're going to have, Austin. It's the biggest move they're going to have. But specific to, I don't want to dance on Tommy Edman's grave here as it pertains to the Cardinals. Oh, my goodness. Jared, what happened here? You gifted 5 memberships. He's just throwing out memberships, Jared is. Unbelievable. I don't know what that is, but grab one if you don't have one. I think he gave you a month of membership. That's really kind of you, Jared. Yeah, man, the channel memberships, we're up close to 40 now. It's been a lot of fun. The Discord's been a lot of fun. Tommy Edman, we love. We all love Tommy Edman as a player. We all love him as a person. I like him as a teammate for the guys in that room. However, the health stuff was starting to build up, right? And is this simpler? It's a lot simpler. My concern was you didn't get the replacement for what Tommy Edman could have brought to you. And then we find out Tommy Pham's in the trade. How many live streams? How many B-Schaeff Dailies? How often have we talked about Tommy Pham would be perfect for this team? He hits lefties. He hits lefties. He can play center field. Is he Siani in center? No. But can he stand out there and be viable? He can. You know what else he brings to the table that I think this Cardinals team needs? Yesterday, Pedro Pajes damn near tried to score from first base on the ground ball that got by C.J. Abrams. Scored it into shallow left field. He had to, the stop sign had to be put up by the third base coach to get him to retreat back to the bag. He was hustling his butt off. He was playing the game of baseball the way you want to see it played. And I'm not trying to pick on anybody individually, but we've also seen some Cardinals lately kind of, was he really busting his butt down the line there, trying to break up that double play? I think Tommy Pham is the perfect guy to come into the Cardinals right now when they're just teetering on the brink of trying to find a way into the postseason. Tommy Pham comes in, and we all know what Tommy Pham's about. We all know Tommy Pham's not afraid to say anything to anybody at any time. Is that going to ruffle some feathers in that clubhouse? It might. Is that what this team might need at times? It might be. I think Tommy Edman, I keep saying it, Tommy Pham is the perfect addition. Don't want to dance on Tommy Edman's grave. And look, he's going to go to a situation where he might win himself a ring this year, right? The Dodgers are, they're going to make the playoffs, and they're buying, and they're aggressive. They traded a bunch of prospects to the White Sox. But can we give John Mozeliak his flowers? We've been hard on the guy, right? There have been a lot of things over the past few years that people have not loved about John Mozeliak. And you might not consider this trade today to have been a total slam dunk, but here's what I'll tell you. This move by the Cardinals is a win in terms of a value proposition. You gave up Tommy Edman, who had not been contributing to this year's team, who was close to $10 million for next year. And if you look at the roles that he could conceivably fulfill, you have a second baseman, Gorman. You have a guy who could play second in Donovan. You have a center fielder that's emerging in Michael Ciani. I know that the OPS is what it is, but Michael Ciani brings something to the table that cannot be always quantified unless you're looking at every single box score and every single play that the center fielder makes that saves the Cardinals sometimes multiple runs. I don't think that Michael Ciani is necessarily the only guy that could be playing center field because you are going to need somebody that can pound lefties. Tommy Pham fits perfectly. He's like a puzzle piece to what Ciani could bring, and it could be a straight platoon at this point. Or it could be a situation where, all right, this starter is a little more inclined to hit balls in the air. We still need Ciani out there, even though we're facing a lefty. It gives Ollie Marmol the flexibility that you want as a manager. Throw some likes on this stream. We're at 28. We can get it more than that. That's, to me, what's so good about this is because we've been harping on the fact that this bench doesn't have very much utility. And here you go. Rena, oh, man, Rena, I appreciate you so much for that super chat. And the content of the message is just as good as the revenue in the pocket. Pham is going to bring the fire to this team. The fire that this team needs, 100%. Let me know in the comments. There are some people who probably say, Tommy Pham, I'm over Tommy Pham. I don't want him back. I thought the Cardinals front office was going to say that. It's not that they broke up under the most, amicable of terms. There was a little bit of under the skin kind of nature about that. But for John Mozeliak and that front office to put bygones to the side and say, Tommy Pham can help this team. Tommy Pham can help this clubhouse. I don't know for sure, but if I'm Ollie Marmol, I bet he's thrilled today to know that Tommy Pham's coming into that clubhouse. You can't do it all as the manager. You cannot be hands-on with every single relationship and say, you need to be doing this. Players are going to lose respect for you real quick. Tommy Pham, when you talk about veteran leadership, I know he's going to rub some guys the wrong way at times. That's okay. Some of the best teams have that dynamic to it over the course of history. I have been saying for weeks Tommy Pham would be perfect as a throw-in to a deal because he's a rental, right? I don't think he's got a contract beyond this year. I thought he'd be perfect as a guy to just bring an edge to the roster. It's not to say that they don't have an edge. I'm not trying to be overly critical there, but has there been a little bit at times an air of complacency where not even necessarily the players themselves, but just the organization, not specific to any one moment in time or any one person, has it just felt like as an org, little complacent over the last handful of years where are they urgent? Are they desperately trying to get back to the standard that Cardinal baseball is meant to be? Dude, if there's anybody who wants that in his life, it's Tommy Pham. I think that's a big-time part of this. And let's talk Fetti. All right? Are there some complications here? Yeah. Andre Palante might be getting the shaft, right? If they put him in the bullpen or they send him down to Memphis, bro, that's going to be tough because he doesn't deserve it. He's been their best starter since May 29th. Look at the numbers. I don't know what's going to happen there. Will they go to a six-man rotation for a spell? It might not be the worst idea, to be honest with you, because you've got guys that, like Tommy, I keep saying names before thinking, Sonny Gray. He threw 184 innings last year. Find me in Sonny Gray's ledger the last decade, the last time he's gone back-to-back seasons with 150-plus innings in both seasons. You won't be able to until you go back to like 14, 15. It's been a minute. Could it hurt to say, hey, let's just give everybody an extra day for a little bit and see how this plays out? The Cardinals have been reluctant to do it in past years. It might make sense for a few weeks right now. Because then you've got a veteran rotation specific to Sonny getting up there in innings, and he hasn't had that kind of workload. And obviously we've seen him kind of wear down. Last month has not been Sonny-esque. I think that would send the right message to go six-man rotation for a minute. You don't have to worry about anybody in particular that's getting too overworked. Now, granted, you're going to have a really difficult conversation about how to handle that bullpen-wise, but they've already kind of been doing it with Matthew Liberatore, where he's not really serving in the leverage role that you'd like to see from him. I do still think this team needs to add a bullpen arm. Figure out that Gio spot. Leahy's going to be fine for now, and he can also give you multiple innings. That could be the impediment to the Cardinals going to a six-man rotation is the idea that they don't have the ability in the bullpen to handle it. And I wouldn't even argue against that. I understand. It's not easy to manage. You got to have those arms, and if your starter then gives you 4 innings, who comes out to backfill? It could be difficult. It may be a reason they don't do it. They may have to tell Palante, brother, stand by. You're going to be in a little bit of a different role for a little bit. And would I support that? No. But I can't also look at Lance Lynn and say, hey, get to the bullpen. Cardinals have won 4 of his last 5 starts. He's been ideal in 4 of the 5. Gave up 10 runs in the other one. It happens. What are you guys thinking here? I'm going to jump into the comments. I've talked for long enough. This is crazy, man. I'm giving Mo and Co. credit, man. They did a one-stop shop that addressed all the needs but bullpen, and there's a world in which you could squint and see, Riley O'Brien come back. There's some things that could happen that they could be okay on that front. I still think you need a leverage arm. Tanner Scott would be the guy. Pete Fairbanks would be the guy. But the fact that the Cardinals have made these moves to improve, they get cost certainty on Fetti for next year, which is not, the most important thing for the here and now for the next 2-month run. But what it is an opportunity to know that you've got that in the offing, and it's something that you don't have to scramble as hard next offseason like they just had to do to get 3 guys in one winter. If you only need 2 and one of them's Fetti, now suddenly you can slow play it a little bit. You can take a little bit more time if you're John Mozeliak, if you're that front office, to get the right move. Not to say that Gibby wasn't the right move. Not to say that Lance Lynn or Sonny wasn't the right move. But you can be a little bit more selective rather than just having to go bulk at it. They don't have to now because Eric Fetti, I think, is going to be a viable, whether he's your number 3, whatever he is for next year. I think he's going to be a decent fit for this Cardinals team. I don't know that he's going to be your best starter. We'll have to wait and see what it looks like. But I think he's viable. Jared, appreciate the super chat, my man. Can we sell one of the weaker starters now? What about Gio and Carlson? Gio's going to go somewhere, whether he's claimed, whether he's traded, or whether nobody claims him and the Cardinals just cut him loose. I think those are the options they're looking at right now. Ideally, somebody claims him now, and you save a little bit of money. That shouldn't be the parameters. You wish the Cardinal front office would be, the ownership group would be more willing to spend and not be so tight on the purse strings. But if that's what they're operating under for reasons we may not fully understand with the Valley and whatever else is going on, then that's what they're operating under, and so we have to talk about it in those terms. Carlson, like I said, I would like to have seen Dylan go in the White Sox deal because the White Sox are terrible, and they would have reason to put him in, especially if they trade Luis Robert. But let's wait and see. Dylan could still land somewhere else before this deadline is through. And let me know in the comments if it happens as I'm talking. Let me know across the league if trades happens as I'm talking, because I would want to be able to make it happen. Chris wants to know who could they get for DC. I thought Brebbia would be kind of a right call. Would the Marlins have any interest? You could send Carlson along with a pitching prospect for Tanner Scott. Like, I could see that playing out. Look, we kind of nailed this one. I've been saying for weeks Tommy Pham would make a lot of sense. A lot of sense it could have potentially made. So, hey, here it is. Here it is. The Cardinals have now made a move to add to the rotation. They have addressed an issue on their bench. Kind of still have to figure out what becomes of Dylan, but you could see Tommy filling Tommy Pham, that is. 2 guys in the same trade need Tommy. Makes it a little bit difficult. But that's what's going around here. That's going to be very interesting to see how the Cardinals proceed from this. They may not be done. They haven't given up a prospect, folks. That's what makes it really, I think, a no-lose proposition. You'll miss Tommy Edman. I like Tommy Edman. He's going to be a good Dodger. He's going to be a good Dodger because he fits what they're looking to do, and I think they'll know how to use him effectively. But I think the Cardinals got what they needed here. I really do. I think the Cardinals got what they needed. Jen, appreciate the super chat. You guys that are my most friendly folks are supporting the heck out of me right now. Jen says, guys, perfect time to join the membership, especially the lounge tier, so you can come and play in the Discord. We do have a lounge chat in the Discord where I drop a few things that I'm not putting elsewhere. I'm not saying it's, just the most revelatory ever, but it's fun. We have fun. Nick, into the B-Schaeff Daily Lounge. Appreciate you, Nick. Send me a DM on Twitter, and I will get you signed up for the live chat, the private chat there in Discord. Henry, you can join the Discord. Maybe I can post the link right here in the chat. I realize the membership is on YouTube. The membership on YouTube is something that I've already thrown into the chat, but the Discord link I don't think is on the video description for this one in particular. Discord makes you change the invite every week. I had a pinned tweet that invited you to the Discord that was out for a long time, but then people were telling me, brother, that's expired. You got to get on it. I said, that's my bad. But I'll throw this into the chat for people who want to join and the Discord is free, by the way. So that's another aspect of it. I misclicked. 1 second, try again. That's the Discord, the second link I just posted here. Eric, appreciate you, brother, for the super chat. Don't trade Carlson. He'll be immediately regretted. Send him to Memphis. Let him play every day. He'll be fine. Honestly, if you don't get fair value for him at the deadline, that's not crazy because Pham now fills his role. You can bring up Luken Baker as another option off your bench. You can bring up Ivan Herrera as a third catcher. Gives you more flexibility. And what it would also provide for you is the potential for another right-handed bat. So I like both of those ideas, honestly, Eric, and appreciate your generosity with the super chat, man. The members coming in hot and heavy with some of these good comments. Let me go ahead and read some of the other comments that are coming through. Jared says it's a big day. Scotty, appreciate you, brother, for the super chat. Good evening, Brenden. And we got to understand, Scotty is across the pond. It's evening for him right now. How's everyone feeling? Pretty happy with the trade as much as I love Tommy Edman. Another pen arm, please, Mo. Tanner Scott, Pete Fairbanks, if Mo somehow pulls that off without giving up a top prospect, would be an absolute aggressive deadline that we've been trying to see from Mo all summer, and now he's giving it to you guys. Cardinals fans, I think, again, people have been critical of Mo. I've been critical of Mo. Mo has knocked this out of the park today. It's the fact that you didn't give up a prospect, but you still found a way to bring in the Tommy Edman role via Pham, and arguably somebody that could add a dynamic and an edge to the clubhouse, and then Fetti. Only guy I feel bad for is Palante if he ends up, not getting to stay in the rotation because he deserves to stay in the rotation. But goodness gracious, man. Going to be weird when Edman comes back to St. Louis later this season. I'm sad, but it was a good trade. Chris, post that. When do the Dodgers come to town? I don't have the schedule in front of me. J. Call gives it a B tier for the trade. Could be worse if good pitching prospects are given away. J. Call, it's finalized. Russ Dorsey of Yahoo Sports. No, I shouldn't say finalized. I have not seen it reported or shared by the Cardinals yet. I have not gotten, I guess I should check my phone if I've got anything from Cardinals PR. Did not. So that's, we're waiting to see that. Bill, Pham plays center field when Siani doesn't. I think it's going to be a nice little platoon in center field. Hunter says, don't stop there. Hell of a job. Keep shopping. Ace, new to the membership. Great utility player, Tommy Edman, but Cards had to do something. Good trade. Look, they gave up 0 from their active roster. Tommy was supposed to rejoin it, but he's not on it right now. So they gave up nothing from their active roster and ultimately get back. And I'll go ahead and pin the Discord so you can see that's the free Discord. The channel membership link is in the description to the video. If you join the lounge tier, DM me on Twitter. I'll get you in. Chris says it's 16th through the 18th of August. Jared says, in Heim we trust, and Giovanni wants Fairbanks from Tampa. I think Fairbanks would be great. But the fact that you gave up no prospects and you improved the team this year and arguably next year, and it's not that Tommy Edman couldn't be a good player for the Cardinals next year, but Fetti is $2 million cheaper. He plays a starting position that you need in the rotation. You can never have too many arms. He's cost controlled for that season. He's got good numbers this year, 3.11 ERA in 121 innings, 108 strikeouts. I think he can perform just as well in front of this defense. Like, he's been doing this in Chicago, where the White Sox are the worst team in baseball by a long shot. Brian mentions that Derek Gould has said the Cardinals are sending another player. It is in his story. If that comes out, let me know live. And then I'll probably have to update my own post for KMOV. I put a lot of different things into that KMOV story. Please do check it out. It's been getting updated all day. But yeah, if there's another player, look, man, if it's Dylan Carlson, even if the Cardinals don't get anything else back, I would think that would be fair because the White Sox could then utilize him. But if Dylan Carlson's still on the team, yeah, you don't want to trade him for nothing. I agree with Eric B., man. Go ahead and send him down. It may be tough, but look, when the going gets tough, the tough might have to get going, and that could be an opportunity for Dylan. Jackie says John Heyman just put out an article saying Dodgers beat out the Yankees for Edman. We had him in a bidding war. Hey, I don't even think that's like sarcasm. I think that's real. Let me pull up the full trade from Russ Dorsey because he's the first one that I saw reported. Russ does an unbelievable job for Yahoo Sports and MLB Network. Love that guy. Here's the trade. Cardinals get Fedde and Pham. We knew that. Dodgers get Edman and Michael Kopech. Kopech's had some up and down numbers with the Chicago White Sox this season, but he's got a great arm. Dodgers will fix him. Dodgers will make him a late-inning weapon. I was a little bit going, man, Cardinals should have tried to get Kopech. But when you see the full scope of what they gave up and didn't give up, that was when I thought maybe the Cardinals were sending prospects. The fact that we don't see an indication yet that they are is pretty impressive. White Sox getting Miguel Vargas, that's from the Dodgers, Gerald Perez, and Alexander Albertus. That's all from the Dodgers. The Cardinals did not give up any prospects, and they improved. That's what makes it savvy, my friends, in my opinion. Damian, Fetti will be starting in Chicago this weekend. just in a different stadium. Yeah, Cardinals going to Wrigley. Man, oh man, do I wish I was going to that series. I just don't think I'm going to be cleared to cover it. We'll see. Mama says, I guess no one wants Carlson. You'd think that they would have got him thrown in for nothing if they wanted. I thought it could have been negotiated by the White Sox, but maybe the White Sox aren't thinking 2 steps ahead. I don't know. J. Call says he got a 30-second unskippable ad. I am really sorry about that. I thought the ads were skippable that put in here. I am sorry about that. In retrospect, I wish I would have just turned ads off for this one, but I do have to kind of earn some income on this. But man, I am sorry about that, J. Cole. Katie Wu says no, so perhaps no additional players. Pham batting 260. How much better is he against lefties? He is better. That's a great question, Chris, and I'll bring up the numbers for you. I know him by heart, what he is against lefties. He's got an 848 OPS this season against lefties, which if you look at 848 OPS, that'd be, if it was just a full season OPS of that, it'd be better than everybody on the Cardinals not named Wilson Contreras. Alec Burleson's been one of their top hitters. He's got a 793 OPS. So Pham, think about how much Burleson has been a good bat for him this year. Pham against lefties has been better than Burleson overall. 848 OPS against lefties. He is built in a lab for what they needed here. I really do think. Hopefully the stream doesn't drop off here. YouTube's getting mad at me here. Really hoping that we can lock it back in. Rob says, can't wait. Could be a fun weekend. Cole says, good deal. Fetti is a decent pitcher. Pham brings veteran leadership. I absolutely agree. Rippy, basing everything off a guy who's having a breakout year at 31 is asking a lot. It is, but what'd you give up? You gave up maybe Tommy Edman comes back healthy, and then you pay him $10 million next year. Instead, I think that, look, they didn't give a ton. We like Tommy Edman, but they didn't give so much that was going to sacrifice from their future. That, to me, is the key of all this. Lucas is a member. He said it worked with A.J. Przinsky and John Lackey in the past. It sure did. It sure did in terms of bringing in some guys that have that edge to them. That's something that we've definitely seen. You guys are overloading the stream. I've never seen it like this. Pham split on lefties as an 848 OPS. That's huge. That's what they need. The visuals of the stream are getting a little better. Nathan, I hope you can just hear my voice, my man. I feel like I'm yelling into the void. By the way, with all the viewers that are in here, if half of you would like it, we would break our record for the stream getting the most likes it's ever gotten. But make sure you do hit subscribe to the channel. That's free to do on YouTube. And we have covered the Cardinals every single day on this channel all season, except for the 4 days I was in Panama City Beach. And that I kind of gave up for those days. Sorry, I was drinking. I didn't want to embarrass myself. Net positive impact to brawl capabilities. Yeah, Dan, they got some brawlers on this team now. Wilson x Pham going to lead to see some cleared benches. You need those edge guys. You do. I think Pham's going to fit in splendidly. Aaron says he's one of his favorite Cardinals of the past decade. Here for this. Dude, I think it's a great call. Caden came for the Cardinals chat, stayed for the Mizzou hat. That's my one fandom, I claim. I'm not a Cardinals fan anymore like I used to be, right? I covered the team. It's a little different. I'm more objective. But I do have that Mizzou, the columns tattooed on my back, and that's not a joke. I do. Jackie says Brenden needed to get some scoops on if the Yankees were in on Edman. I think there's some info out there that it's pretty credible that say they were, and that may be why the Dodgers felt like they had to continue to add prospects to the White Sox, because it might have been the White Sox holding up this deal. Were they feeling they got enough back? And ultimately, since the Cardinals were only giving Edman, that shows how desperate the Dodgers might have been to outbid on Edman, because they were essentially backfilling the trade to the White Sox to make sure that Chicago felt like they were getting enough. And we did hit 100 likes. You guys are fantastic. Jared says, I think you can never have too much pitching. Libby will have a set role from here on out. Matt's might be that lefty bullpen arm. Yeah, there's still Libby floating around. There's still Matt's floating around. There's still Palante or whoever they remove from the rotation floating around. Pham plays up in meaningful games as well. Batted over 400 last year in the World Series. I like Pham off the bench in a 2-2 game more than Brandon Crawford. You should, especially because of the splits. Crawford, as a lefty, could hit righties, but if you're facing a left-handed pitcher late in the game, Tommy Pham comes off the bench for Ciani. That's where it fits. You would like to think that Ciani could be in the end of the game as a defensive replacement, but it also can work in reverse if the Cardinals are trailing and they need a key at bat. Pham takes it in that spot and comes into play center. Chris says, this is what happens when you stream in the daylight. Yeah, maybe my problem has been the fact that I always stream at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Central, and that's why we're getting some. I think it's honestly the trade. I think that's it. Most people during their workday are probably not tuning in, right? Unless it's something going on right now. Nate says the Cardinals needed more fight, and I agree. And I think they're going to have it now. Jen wants me to do a little sippy kind of live stream. Maybe someday. You got to be responsible, though. I got to be responsible. But a beer, that wouldn't hurt anybody. Damien says, everybody hit the like button and subscribe. Support the #1 YouTube Cardinals content creator around. Hey, I like all the YouTube content creators, but when I saw Charlie Marlowe was streaming, I saw Dealing the Cards were streaming, I said, I'm still going to stream, right? This is the time to do it. Love those guys, though. Damien said, only problem with Palante to the pen, does he turn into Libby? Yeah, exactly. He's worked his butt off to be a starter. Would he have to readjust in the pen, and is that fair to him? No. But sometimes them's the breaks. And look, certain players respond to those pieces of adversity better than others. I would reckon that, Dylan Carlson has not responded to his adversity, like the guy. But we can just be honest about the numbers. What do we think about Libby? At times he's responded, but he hasn't been consistent. What would Palante do, man? It's a question. It is. I don't think he deserves to be moved. We'll see what the Cardinals say tonight. Michael says it's odd that Pham wanted to fight William just a month ago, and now Wilson and Tommy are teammates. Yeah, they might have to smooth that over. Wilson might have to say, brother, that is my actual brother that you were kind of having words with. But dude, they're both competitors. I think they're gonna get along. They're gonna be like brothers. You fight sometimes, your teammates, you're all on the same side. That's really what it boils down to. Blake says, well, since we got Pham back, it's time for them to send Carlson for DeYoung. That's funny, actually, and I don't think it's crazy. DeYoung would not probably. I mean, if they wanted to, that could have been part of the trade, right? That would have been fascinating. But I think DeYoung has maybe even more value than Carlson at this point. K. Neilio wants to know where Palante is going to fit in. Could it still be the number 5 of the bullpen? TBD. I'll let the Cardinals answer that because it's tricky. Again, he doesn't deserve to be moved out, but maybe that's what happens. Cole says, good deal. Pham brings leadership. Fetti is decent. Yep, Fetti's got good numbers. 3.11 ERA this season. I'm scrolling back up through these comments to try and find all the ones from my channel members, make sure I didn't gloss over anybody. Brett says, what scares me is the Dodgers essentially now have 2 Mookie Betts level defensive weapons when it comes to versatility. They do. They do, exactly. Jared also says 200 people in here, only 50 likes. Get it going, baby. 119 likes now, though, Jared. We're crushing it. Trade DC for some B-Schaeff channel memberships. Now, hey, I don't know that either of those things have a ton of trade value right now, but I would never argue with it. Would never argue with that. Sean says Bauer would be a great number 2. Don't do that. Don't bring Trevor Bauer into this. Jared says don't want Bauer. Yeah, 30 MLB teams don't want Bauer. Hate to be that guy, but yeah, no, I actually don't. Drew wants to know who gets DFA'd. It's hard to speculate, but they've got some guys. I mean, I think Raposo is still on the 40. You'd hate to lose him. That's what was tricky about him having to come on the 26-man roster for a couple days. It's like, what if you have to pass Raposo through waivers someday and he gets claimed? That would be unfortunate for your catcher depth in the org. Mozeliak, I think, is still on the 40 and somebody that they may consider trying to sneak through waivers. So we'll see. Let me know if anything gets reported while we're talking. Joshua, what's up, brother? What's up, Josh? He said Joe had a nice trade idea. Carlson for Canna. Who says no? Boy, I think the Tigers. Yeah, Austin right below it says the Tigers would say no. I think you're going to need more for Canna. And honestly, it'd be nice, but with the Tommy Pham edition, Canna's not as desperate of a need, but he also does crush lefties. I would just as soon bring up Luke and Baker to be that role rather than maybe get. But again, if you're only giving up something small for Canna, it makes sense. Damian, Jen, appreciate you guys being here. What was the question there? Well, my gosh. Jared is gifting 5 more memberships to the channel. And look, if you guys enjoy the month of the membership and getting the special notoriety that comes with it, then suddenly maybe you're interested in hopping on board for longer. But it looks like you'll have a month. STL Baseball Beer is a member now. Space Magic Storm. Jared, brother, I appreciate you, man. That's really cool of you. I didn't even know you could do that, being honest with you. Trent asked if the deal is official. Deal is not official to my understanding, but I haven't been looking at my email or my phone to know. Cardinals, I would get some sort of notification when it happens, and I'm looking, and I haven't seen anything yet, so stay tuned. Wait a minute. Do we have something? No. Nope, they sent me a news release about $4 tickets, though, if anybody was wanting to pick some up. So, yeah, I think not official yet, but it's enough to trust. It's going to happen. Pham and Wilson joining forces is like stepbrothers at the Catalina Wine Mixer. It's the bleeping Catalina Wine Mixer. Nate Latch, love it. Chris said, I was thinking about Pham when Edman was injured off the bat and Walker was being Walker. Yep, we've been talking Pham for months. Trent, yeah, it's probably been reported on your MLB app. I have not seen the Cardinals or the Dodgers or the White Sox say, hey, we're doing this trade. That's when it's official. But I think there's a lot of details to be ironed out probably. So if there's a delay on that, don't be concerned. I have full belief that this is going to be announced. And let me know if one of the teams has done it. If anybody has announced it, let me know. Michael S. and Michael H. joining the gang. Appreciate you guys for hopping into the membership. This has been fantastic. Support's been unbelievable. We started this YouTube channel. I shouldn't say started. I started it when I was a kid, but I never put anything on it. But started posting Cardinals content in April of 2023 because Charlie Marlowe was like, hey, I do YouTube. I'm like, you make money off that? He's like, yeah, I built it up. I make a little money off that. I was like, I should be doing this because I do a podcast anyway. So I started posting my podcast to YouTube. Now we're doing live streams. Now we're doing videos throughout the day. We're doing all sorts of things. And you guys are the reason that it is now worth my time to do this because of your support. So I hope I bring you value, and you guys have been amazing in supporting me and bringing this into part of what is now my career, right? This is a goal for me to continue doing this for a long, long time. So I just wanted to say thank you. Coaches, John and Dean, how many likes for us to see the tattoo, boy? It's funny you asked that. When I did Hot Take Central, first day of Hot Take Central, Jim the Cat Hayes, Cam Jansen, Cole Bartemus was there. I can't remember that first day if there was anybody else there. We started talking about that, and I said, yeah, I'm not a Cardinal homer. I try to be objective. I am a Mizzou homer, though, and I don't hide it. I do a radio show in Columbia at 4 o'clock. We'll be talking more about this trade. If you want to tune in to the KTGR app, you should download it. Myself and Andy Humphrey will be breaking it down. But I told the guys in studio that, I've got a Mizzou tattoo on my back. I got the columns tattooed. And they're like, no, you don't. So first day of the job, I took my shirt off and showed them. I don't think I'm doing that on the stream. Not until I get into a lot better shape. and then it turns into like an OnlyFans thing, and that's not what we're about here. No, I'm just playing. Brett said send Carlson to Florida, whether it's Tampa or Miami. Should be some outfield space for him. Throw in a prospect, get us Tanner Scott or Fairbanks, and I think we win the deadline. Yeah, I think it would cost you more than just, a prospect or a rinky-dink here or there to get either of those, Scott or Fairbanks. I thought the Rays were just going to trade the expensive guys like Eflin and who else did they give up? Rosarena, and then kind of be done. But then they're also working in the margins, getting rid of Isaac Paredes and picking up Christopher Morel. That's not technically a sell trade. So they haven't really fully sold. And to me, selling Fairbanks for a prospect would legitimately be a sell trade that's not related to finances because he only makes $4 million next season with incentives. So I don't know if they're going to trade Fairbanks, but if he's available, that's a guy that I would give up some pieces to get. Him or Tanner Scott. Ethan says, take my money and keep on keeping on. You guys have been fantastic. There will not be an OnlyFans, Trevor. Calm yourself. Fairbanks would cost a lot. You bet your butt he would, but he's worth it, I think. I'm not even going to say a pitching prospect name, but probably one of the ones that you don't want to trade. But he's controllable for next year and the year beyond that. In 2026, he's only making $7 million. And he's a St. Louis guy and a Mizzou guy. So, yeah, I'm into that. And he's hilarious, too. If you guys have seen his post-game interviews, you'd love him. And he has one of the nastiest pitches in the game. I think it's considered a slider, but it basically just drops off the table. Kind of similar to the Gio slider when Gio's was at its best, I think. I'd have to look at maybe the StatCast and everything tells you different, but that's always what it reminded me of. Ethan, appreciate your super chat, brother. Jared says, I'm on the mobile, but there's a button in the bottom left that has a bunch of donation options. Okay. The more I learn, the more I'm coming around on it. I'll be throwing up when I see Edman and Dodger Blue. Tommy Edman's going to have a big moment in October, and I'm going to be here for it, man. I'm going to be here for it. Miles, what's up? Is this the headline move for St. Louis this year? I'm happy if so, but I do think they could make another jaw dropper. If they did, Cardinals fans are going to be kissing the ring of John Mozeliak because I think this is already savvy. It's not groundbreaking in so much as the Cardinals have added a superstar. They added solid pieces that fill needs. But if they were to then do like the version of this in the bullpen that could involve one of the top arms on the market, Like, this could almost embolden John Mozeliak to say, you know what, we got some needs fulfilled without giving up prospects, so maybe we could give one up to fulfill a need and get a legit wipeout reliever for the 8th inning. That's the thing that, if you really wanted to push the chips in, Mo, this would be the time. Any chance you see the Cardinals trade Lynn, Gibson, Michaelis Palante, one of the four, while now having Fetti? I'm going to say no, because I think it almost defeats the purpose of doing the move in the context of 2024. It already makes sense for 2025. You have Fetti now under cost control for next year, and that's the benefit. But it also, in this year, does complicate, do you have 6 starters and which guy gets bumped? Casey upgrades to the lounge. Appreciate you, Casey, for doing that. Send me a DM on Twitter of your Discord name, and I'll get you in the lounge when I wrap up here. So, to Josh's question, you could trade, like, of those names, Michaelis would be the one that cuts the most cost. Lynn would be the one that's maybe the most movable because he's not under contract for next year. Gibson, you probably would lean to pick up the option, and Lynn right now, you're maybe on the fence about picking up the option. Palante, Palante could have value, but I would say don't look a gift horse in the mouth. The Cardinals finally, as we sit here, have 6 starters that are healthy and capable. And that has not been the case for a little bit. The depth improved with this trade for 2024, and the cost certainty of having a rotation, because you don't pick up a Lynn option for next year. You can obviously see how that slides in. Maybe you want to improve upon the Palante spot for next year if he doesn't keep it up. You can see how Fetti slides into that role. I think right now, though, you just be glad that you have the depth. But Matz is still hanging out there. Could he be moved to unload some salary relief? If you trade Matz, he's got, 11, 12 million for next year, and the Cardinals eat half of it, but they save $6 million in the process. Like, could that then embolden them to make another move that does take on some salary? Those are the things I'm wondering right now. Trevor says, respectfully, you're nuts. Why are we telling Mike W. he's nuts? I didn't see Mike's comments. He said the Dodgers got away with robbery. Kopech and Edman were the best players in the deal, and they both go to the Dodgers. Are you effing kidding me? Here's what I would say, Mike. I think the Dodgers might have gotten fleeced. Did you see the prospects and the young players, the talent that's going to the White Sox? I think that I got to text my dad back because my dad said, are they keeping Pham or flipping him? He hits lefties, Dad. That's why I just texted to my dad, who is a Cardinals fan, of course. Yeah, man, I think you take the 6 starters that you have and you'd be glad about it. That's kind of where I'm at. You just have to tell somebody some news that they don't want to hear today, unless you're going to commit to a 6-man rotation. Jackie says, how does the $51 million Colorado paid from Arenado's deal affect his year-to-year salary? Do we essentially pay $10 million less each year or what? Jackie, the way that I believe that worked is that they maybe so. Yeah, I'm not going to answer it because I don't know exactly. I don't think they gave him a $50 million lump sum right up front, but if they had done so, then it's like, now you've already had that money sitting around. I think they do maybe help pay it down annually, Jackie, but don't quote me on that. I don't want to tell a lie. I don't want to say something out of turn while I'm live. Ethan says, a little deja vu back to the Monty trade, but a bigger fleece. It's very similar. Edman is an outfielder who is currently on the injured list that was going to have 1 year of team control remaining for next year, and he was traded for a starting pitcher that has 1 year of team control remaining for next year that is going to immediately slot into the rotation. The only difference is Fetti is a right-hander. Cardinals could still use a lefty in their rotation, but, beggars can't be choosers. Palante kind of is that because he's good against lefties. But anyway, Jackie said, wondering forever, Arenado contract looms large with the team spending. Yeah, and Jackie, don't quote me. I don't know if I'm 100% right. There are reporters out there who know it today. I'm sure one of them knows it and has already reported it. And so that's why I don't want to act like I have this info, because I know it's been out. Like, I'm sure Derek Gould has had stories that have explained this, and it's just off the top of my head. I don't want to misquote. If you guys can understand my position there, I always try to be transparent with things, with what I know and what I don't. Lucas says the money was defined year by year. Don't recall the exact specifics. That's where I'm at too. Austin proposes Matz, Carlson, Crawford for Shohei. Yeah, I'm sure they would be happy to do it, Austin. I'm sure they would be happy to do it. Verlis likes the trade, but it's going to miss Tommy Edman, and that's right. That's the sentiment that I think we should have today, because Tommy Edman is a good dude, man. He's a good ball player, and he was a good ambassador for the Cardinals. Tommy Edman, and not to get too much into it, but I also think Tommy Edman is kind of the type of role model, if we're going to talk about stuff beyond baseball, type of role model that is a really good guy to have around. He's just a good guy. And that doesn't maybe matter between the white lines to fans, but it matters to me. covering the team. You see those sorts of things. And I couldn't say enough good things about Tommy Edman. Don says, please explain how the difference between Fetti and Palante is worth the difference between Pham and Edman. Great question, because at its core, that's kind of what it boils down to, right? But the thing that you maybe don't acknowledge within that question is that Fetti is controlled for $7.5 million for next year, and he locks into the rotation as a guy who, could have a low to mid threes ERA. At least that's what he's doing this year. He doesn't have a ton of strikeout rate, but he'll get some guys now and then. 108 Ks in 121 innings. He's kind of on the Michaelis plane of go overseas to the Asian market, work out the kinks, and come back a better man, better arm, and he's done that this year. But he's cost-controlled. Tommy Edman, when we look at what he fulfills, if he's at his full health, you might say that Edman's got more versatility than Pham. But I think Pham has been even better against lefties than we could expect Edman to be. Maybe not quite the defensive center fielder, and obviously Pham doesn't play shortstop. But he's healthy. And Tommy, we don't know if Tommy Edman's going to be able to contribute in August 1st or August 14th or August 30th. We don't know yet. And the Cardinals said, look, this is going to lock us into certainty on Fetti for next year. And keep in mind, Palante's still on the team. They didn't trade away Palante in this deal. You only lose Tommy Edman. So Palante can then slot into the rotation alongside Eric Fetti when, let's say, Lance Lynn gets an injury or Gibby gets an injury or Sonny gets an injury. That matters instead of having to slot in Zach Thompson, who hasn't performed, or Libby, who hasn't performed in a starter role. That's the difference, Don, that I would prefer to highlight. Dodgers gave up a few low-level prospects, probably will never be relevant. They won this trade hands down. I can't wait to revisit in a couple of years. Okay, Mike, but just understand that the Cardinals weren't going to sign Tommy Edman long-term because they've got a second baseman, really two of them. They've got a center fielder they like. And in an ideal world, Victor Scott comes up and can contribute in that role too in the future. I think they looked at Tommy as a guy whose time with the team was going to come to a close at some point anyway because of the financial implications, and they went and decided right now would be the time to capitalize. And I don't disagree with it. I think they won this trade. I think the Dodgers did very well in the trade, and I think the White Sox got some of what they needed in this trade. Everybody can win a trade. It's very rare that you might see that, but I could see it playing out that way. Mike would have rather had Kopech over Fetti any day. That's fair. I mean, that's understandable because I think Kopech has the higher upside within his arm. He can be a strikeout guy. And if you look recently, he's been wiping dudes out from July 8th to today. 5 consecutive scoreless appearances. It's been a small sample, but 5 2/3 innings since July 8th with 8 strikeouts in that span, right? Lowered his ERA down to 4.74, but it's still a run and a half higher than what Fetti's got, and Fetti's a starter. I understand Fetti might come here and have a 4 ERA and just be more of what they have already, but I think he's a little more reliable to be able to fill out a role in a pinch than whatever would happen if you had another starter go down with an injury, right? Because now if something happens, well, Palante's still here. He can still do the Palante stuff he's been doing. Jackie wants to know who produces first for the Cardinals, Victor Scott II or Jordan Walker. I'm going to say Walker. I hope that VS2 can figure it out offensively, but we haven't seen it yet. Colton, I'm a Brewers fan. Looks like we are after Nestor Cortez now because he's apparently available. Yeah, the Yankees, what everybody else would need that would want Nestor is going to need the Yankees to trade for a big-name starter so that they feel even more confident that they can unload Nestor Cortez. Because remember 2 years ago when they got rid of Monty, they then found themselves up the creek without the paddle on their rotation because they had a few injuries later on. Lucas says Fangraphs roster restores shows 21, I can't read that, 21, 14.4 million, 22, 5.5 million. No numbers listed for 23, still about 15 left on the table. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I assume you're talking Arenado there. I just don't want to speak out of turn, but I appreciate Lucas for trying to find us that. Subscribe to this channel, guys. We have 350 people in here right now, according to my resources. And if you're one who has not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel and you like baseball, Cardinals, anything like that, subscribe. It's free. We don't need Nestor. Sell off Carlson, says Enviro Ben. I think Nestor has more upside as a strikeout arm than Fetti, but Fetti's been the better arm this year. So kind of take your pick there. The fact that you get Pham is also not lost on me. I think that's a key, unique person to fit into a mold of what they need on this bench. Jen says nobody's taking Carlson unless he's packaged with somebody else. Colton wants to see Jack Flaherty back. He will likely be out of Detroit by tonight. Yeah, I don't think that happens. He's gonna fetch a pretty penny. Jack has been great this year. Credit to him. The other thing is that the Cardinals were fighting with the Brewers for Fetti. So the Cardinals land Fetti, and now the Brewers have to scramble. John Mozeliak did what he meant to do in this trade. Unless there's a big-name prospect that was lost and we didn't know he was in the deal, the Cardinals got what they needed out of this deal, regardless of what happens tomorrow or the next day or the next year. At the time of the trade, you cannot argue, in my opinion, in good faith, that the Cardinals didn't do very well in this trade. Paul mentions that the Cardinals should be trading Carlson. We will see if it happens. KPM says it's a trade officially made. Not that I have seen, but I've been talking to you guys and not refreshing Twitter. So let me know if one of the three teams announces it. That would be enough to go on. Right now, the last post by the Cardinals Twitter account is some homers that they hit yesterday. Goldie's walk-off. So as of yet, I would say it's not official, but it will be done. There's no reason to think it wouldn't be. Andrew, are the Cards done? I don't think so. I think they could make a move for a reliever. I think this deal can embolden the front office to go, hey, we got some needs filled. Now we're playing with house money, because if we don't get anything else done, we still accomplish some things. But we can be aggressive in the margins that we're looking at. And we'll see if they get something done in the next 27 and a half hours. 26 and a half hours. My bad. Matz makes too much salary for him to have good trade value. No, Jared, it would just be a salary dump if they moved Matz. But he can also eat some of offset some of the costs if you trade for more salary for somebody you do want in a separate deal, is my thought. Blake would trade Matz, Carlson, Herrera, and Tink Hens for Fairbanks. I think probably that's too many names and maybe on the quality not enough, but Herrera and Tink Hens for Fairbanks would probably happen, or at least be reasonable. Matz would not fit Tampa because unless the Cardinals are eating a bunch of money, because they're kind of very transparently trying to trim salary. I don't know what a hot tub channel on Discord is, but it sounds scary. This cut payroll for next year, Edman makes more than Fetti. That's correct. Edman's making 9.5, Fetti 7.5. That's why the Cardinals now can operate from a position of strength. Is Palante still starting tonight? I would guess 100% correct. Yes. I would not think that anything that's happening here would change that. I think that is going to be the case. Jen and Jared are having a lot of fun goofing off. I don't have a hot tub, so we're going to calm ourselves on that whole thing. Chris, would getting O'Brien back be like making a trade? I understand that that's kind of the poo-poo thing that you say, and nobody likes to hear it, but it would be interesting to see him come back. He could help. Braxton is a disc golfer. What's up? Got to know how many hats are on the rack behind you. More than my wife would prefer there to be. There are hats stacked on hats. One of these days I'm going to arrange it behind me so that it's like nice and you can see some of the logos, but I just have all sorts of hats. Graham likes this one better than the Bader-Monty trade, and I tend to agree with Graham on that. Does Gorman become a platoon bat? Wait and see. They don't really have the other side to that platoon at second base just yet because both Gorman and Donovan are lefties. Not sure if it's been discussed, but feels similar to the Bader-Montgomery deal, maybe better. That's from Ryan, and yes, it has been discussed, and yes, it does. I think it is similar. Could Fetti start tomorrow or Wednesday? I'd have to look. What's Fetti done recently? Pitched on the 27th, so no. 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, 1st would be the 5th day for Fetti. So what's August 1st? Whatever day that is. That's the Friday in Chicago or Thursday in Chicago? What's today, Monday? Yeah, so Thursday I think would be as early as you'd see Fetti start. He'll probably start at Wrigley. He won't even have to leave town. Just drive to the north side. Colton says the Braves are apparently seriously in on Crochet. Oh, that's what they need to do, too. That's what they need to do. Dylan thinks the Cardinals got fleeced, and Graham thinks that's delusional. I agree that it is not a take with which I agree. 180 likes, that's a record. Get it to 200 if you please, and subscribe to the channel, baby. Subscribe to the channel. There's got to be people in here. If 240 people are currently watching, there's got to be people in here who have not ever subscribed to this YouTube channel. Can I make fun of myself for a second, guys? I put a video together and literally hit post as this trade was being broken on Twitter about Mark DeRosa being out of his mind for proposing Jordan Walker for Eric Fetti. And in fairness, he was out of his mind. This deal was always getting done without that. But now I feel silly because nobody's going to watch that video. It's okay. It was only like 10 minutes long. I did not waste that much time on it, but I was proud of the graphic I made. I thought it was kind of some good graphic design. I'm not a graphic designer, so that was a tough one for me. Lucas said he won them a game without donning the jersey. The Nats have a love affair with D.C. Dent reporting that the Guardians, Nats, and Angels are interested in D.C. Carlson's gone before the deadline. Carlson will go before the deadline, is my prediction. If it's now being reported who's interested in him, teams are going to say, oh, the Cardinals picked up Tommy Pham. We can take a flyer on. And the fact that the Guardians are into him is interesting because he would not get to play there, I wouldn't think. But the Angels, maybe Mike Trout's never active, so I just would like to see Dylan go somewhere that he can actually play. What kind would kind of just make sense for us to meet Fetti in Chicago? Yeah, stay there, Eric. Just chill for a couple days. No, it's only Monday. He'll fly to St. Louis, I believe, because they'll have to do a physical and everything, so he'll be here. You do not want to try to do a physical in the Wrigley Visitors Clubhouse. I'll tell you that much right now. I'll tell you that much right now. There's no room in there to operate. Fetti will fly to St. Louis. Everybody talking about JD's John Denton's DC update. Too many D's in that quote. That's going to get clipped off. Tehran says, what's your ideal outfield rotation? Move on from Carlson and Newt? No, but yes to Carlson, not to Newt. The ideal rotation for now until Walker reasserts himself is probably Newt in one corner, Burley in the other corner, Siani in center against righties, Siani in center when they really need the good center field defense out there, even if it's against lefties, and Tommy Pham in center on the days that you're facing a lefty and you want to get Tommy's bat in there. And then they'll work as the platoon. Siani will come into games defensively on days he doesn't start if the Cardinals are leading late by a run or two. On days the Cardinals trail by a run or two, if Siani started, Pham will come into the game and take the key at bat against a lefty. That's the way I envision it working. It's very, very good. The utility that Ollie Marmol now has is light years better than before. Verlis, thank you for the super thanks, my brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Dylan Carlson to the White Sox in exchange for vending machines. That did not happen. Jeff P. wants something posted. I don't know what he wants posted. Cardinals feel abundant on outfielders. They kind of are. Dylan's going to be traded before tomorrow. That's my prediction. Trout is rehabbing. He is. And by the way, Trout can't come back to St. Louis because of the salary. Wouldn't that be fun, though? Trade Carlson for Bauer. Bauer's not on a team. Not a thing. Do you think they make a move for another bat? I don't think so, but I think they make a move for a reliever, if anything. That could be the thing that makes sense. They could make a move for another bat if they wanted. We did get to 200 likes. You guys are fantastic. But I just think that, if anything, they'll move away from DC, and then they'll call up Luken Baker or Ivan Herrera, and that could be a wrap, where suddenly your bench now has Tommy Pham, Carpenter, Crawford. Well, I guess not. I guess they don't. No, the guy coming up is Pham. There's nobody to call up because they traded Edman, who's not actually on the roster. That's why there's no move that's needed. If anything, they need to probably move Dylan Carlson before today's game. Because if Pham's on your roster, what's going on there? Yeah, Carlson could be traded quick. If not, they might be in limbo before announcing the deal officially because it's not official yet. So that would be awkward if, they're trying to actively move DC, but Pham's not technically on the roster because this doesn't get announced until later tonight. That could be interesting. You could have some mid-game shenanigans there, but we'll see. We will see. Jen says, I'm on it if you need graphic design. Yeah, Jen actually made some B-Schaeff Daily t-shirts. If people would buy those, we can sell them. And I can give Jen a cut because I didn't have to do anything for it. Let me know if you would actually wear a t-shirt, and we'll try to get them produced on there's a couple websites that I've done t-shirt stuff for before. So anyway. Also, I'm just going to say this and keep it vague. If you are a disc golf aficionado, you may like a future relationship that I have coming up here soon. Nothing official yet. But if you like disc golf, there could be some cool things coming to B-Schaeff Daily. Pham was just sent a link to the Cardinals Fantasy Football League. That'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. Jeff wants a t-shirt. We might have to get some of these produced. Jen made the logo, so it's all about Jen because it's shaped like a YouTube play button, and we could probably, Jen, put it on. There's a website I know about that. And look, if you want some funny t-shirts, what would be the slogan of B-Schaeff Daily? I don't really know, but some inside jokes. We've also got philosophical differences. We've got some different things that we could play with. I haven't gotten into the merch game because I frankly, I don't know a lot about it. I've done it before when I've created funny Cardinals t-shirts in the past, but it's been a while for me on that front. Josh says that Brandon Crawford is a perfectly fine human being. Him and Cart being on the team are redundant. I don't agree that they're redundant because one of them plays shortstop, the other one doesn't, and nobody else in the org does. That was the thing about Edman, that if he was around, you could have maybe foreseen, you could have seen some movement on that front. If they go get a bat to replace Crawford at shortstop, then it's maybe somewhat interesting. But I think right now they're just going to write it out with Crawford, if I had to guess. Is Gorman a long-term piece, value in a trade? I don't know what value he has in a trade because I think the Cardinals might have been willing to move him in the past for some of those Seattle starting pitchers in previous off seasons, like a Logan Gilbert or a George Kirby. You could have packaged Gorman with some prospects to do that. That was like the thought in my head. But since it never happened, either the Cardinals never tried or they did try and the Mariners weren't interested in Gorman on that level. So you weren't going to sell low on Gorman if you weren't getting max value, so it never happened. Baker needs to be on this team or traded to get more pitching. Burley is the future first baseman after Goldie is gone. We'll see. There could be some truth to that. Maybe somebody will get their butt kicked by Pham this year. Could be. I left Donovan off. No, yes, I did. You're right, Bill. Burleson DH. I apologize. Donnie in left, Siani in center, Pham platooning with him, Nootbaar in right field, Burley designated hitter. On the days that Wilson DHs, then you have a little bit of a situation, but not one that I think is impossible to be managed right now by Oli Marmol. So I think they could. Now, Carlson has no place to play. He's the one that obviously will be moved off before 5 p.m. tomorrow, in my opinion. But the others, you can kind of finagle it and figure it out, right? Someday you'd want to have all three of those outfielders in there. You want to have Newt, you want to have Burley, you want to have Donnie all in there. But Wilson's DHing. What do you do? Well, maybe that's the day that Gorman sits and Donnie plays second. Like, you could arrange it in a way that makes it work, if that makes sense. A 40-man spot does need to be cleared. It's so very evidently, to me, Dylan Carlson's spot. Maybe the Cardinals were like, I've done this in fantasy before for football, where like I'm making a trade and I'm willing to include another player in the deal, but the other party doesn't ask me to. And I'm like, oh, I thought they would have wanted this guy. And then I'm like, all right, well, I can trade him in another trade now. That could be how this Dylan Carlson thing went down. Would the Cardinals have been willing to throw him in to this 3-team trade, but the White Sox never asked? We don't offer him up for free. But now you aggressively, the fact that Denton is reporting 3 teams interested in Carlson tells me that the Cardinals are trying to move quick on that. I could be wrong. Michael S. says, wouldn't it be cool to send DC and Crawford to the Giants to get Hicks back in the bullpen? Crawford deserves to retire as a Giant. Mad respect. Well, the Giants, and I deleted a tweet yesterday because I kind of said, oh, see, the experiment with Hicks didn't work out in the rotation. And that was actually not fair because he has hit the wall this year, but I believe the Giants on that 4-year contract are going to put him back into the rotation next year. But he's kind of up on an innings situation right now. Eric said the slogan on the T-shirts could be 1 second while I take a drink. That's funny. That's actually really good. We might have to have a quote contest to see what quotes should go on the T-shirts if we make some B-Schaeff Daily T-shirts. Yeah, and Eric, I would make some money on the T-shirt thing if I sold it through because I can set the price on this website that I've used before. They'll let me submit my graphic. I won't even have to do distribution. They'll do it. I can offer it in multiple colors potentially, and I'd get a cut of it. So we might make that happen. If there's interest. If there's not, we don't have to. Damien wants some Down on the Farm T-shirts with livestock. That would be fun. Maybe I should have Hastings Layers Premium Eggs T-shirts listed on my site, and my sponsor could make some money off of them if they want to support it that way. Jen, don't worry about actually creating the T-shirt. I'm gonna do some stuff on my end. We'll talk later though. I've got ideas. Incremental upgrades. There you go, Ryan. There's another good one. Imagine a Rose Rain at Ozuna and Tyler O'Neill now. Yeah, well, they've all gone on to do some good things, haven't they? Are Evaldi or Scherzer completely out of the mix with Fetti acquired? Ben, I think those players are out of the mix because of the fact that the Rangers aren't selling. I think that was what it was before that, personally, because they're trying to make a go of things. We're up on an hour on this stream. We're still filled in here, but let me know if you got some more questions. I'm going to wrap it by 3 because I do have my radio show to begin by 4, so I don't want to kill the voice right before my show. Tommy Two Bags got paid and traded to a contender. It was a win-win for all involved, and the Cardinals have a starter for next year. One less thing to chase. That's exactly how I view it. Really is. Glad Mo was able to get something done that will help. Glad Fetti and Pham are with us. Never thought Mo would bring Pham back. Credit to Mo. Credit to Mo for this, because I'm not 100% sure that there wasn't, I'm not going to say even animosity, but a little bit of like, all right, this guy, with the way it went down with Tommy Pham, and that ain't important anymore. He can help this club win. We make a trade. That's gumption right there from John Mozeliak, and I appreciate it. If Fetti bombs and has a 70 ERA in St. Louis, Colton's going to think that's funny. Look, it might happen, but what did you give up from this current roster to get him? Nothing, because Edman had not been on the team. Alex has joined the membership, B-Schaeff Daily King. Appreciate that, Alex. Appreciate that very much. And I would say, guys, if you were gifted a membership today, that's awesome. Think about what the next month is like, and then if you want to re-up when it's over, hey, man, we will have gained a lot in our support. Baker needs to be on the team or traded for pitching. We already read that one. Michael says it's a good trade. I hate losing Tommy, but getting Fetti is a good get. Now get one more arm. That's what it is to me. Is there a reliever I like on the 3 teams mentioned looking at Carlson? That's what Ninja wants to know. Ninja, I don't even know. I don't want to. Gator, maybe Ninja Gator is what that name is supposed to be. And Lucas wants to know who's dropping out of the rotation. I don't know. Ollie Marmol will tell us when he tells us. Ninja wants to know about the reliever on the team. So what did John Denton say? He said Guardians, Angels, and I can't remember offhand who the third team was. And this is all secondhand, so I'm actually going to pull it up for John Denton on his Twitter account to make sure that I'm not seeing anything crazy. And actually, he's got quotes from the clubhouse, because the clubhouse is open now. I don't cover the pregame during the weekday on night games because I have my radio show at 4. That's why I'm here with you guys instead of in the clubhouse right now. But John Denton has this quote from Dylan Carlson. And maybe this just happened. Maybe this was, I don't know. I have to look at my phone to see when the clubhouse opens to know when JD may have gotten these quotes, actually. 2:40 to 3:30. So, no, this was probably something that JD might have gotten from Dylan at another point, not just now. I could be wrong. Either way, Dylan Carlson on a potential change of scenery quote, I've never experienced a fresh start because I've been here with this organization since I was 17. Really, this is all I've known. But look, I think there's something to it. Going somewhere new and experiencing new things. It could open new ways of thinking and new ways of playing. It could unlock what you need to unlock. It's something that's real for some guys. If that's not Dylan Carlson saying he understands the business and he'll understand a trade, then we're reading different quotes. Dylan's going to go. Dylan's going to go in the next 24 hours or 26 hours, in my opinion. And that'll be the best for everybody because I think he deserves a shot for a fresh start. JD did say the Nationals, Nats, and Guardians are discussing it. Well, the Nationals have already traded some of their relief pitchers. And, let's not act like Carlson has a ton of trade value right now either, right? So a middle relief type that could help out, or just a prospect or a younger player that's not on the 40-man, because you do need to clear a 40-man spot. That could fit in a DC trade as well. DC to DC. Reunite with Lane Thomas, with Juan Yepes. I could see the appeal. Like Dylan Floro, is there? I don't exactly know what those teams are going to be looking at. The Nationals would probably need prospects back if they're trading somebody from their big league bullpen, but they're allowed to sell because they're out of the race. The Guardians, it would be a straight trade for a young player, probably not on their roster, because they're in contention. They might just be making a trade that says, we don't see Dylan Carlson helping us today, but we think he's maybe got some value still, and we don't need, they could send him to AAA, and that might, be a tough pill for a little bit, but that could be a value proposition that the Guardians would do. So I'm not even going to waste much time looking at their relief pitchers, because I don't think the Guardians are trading from their active roster to get anything done with Carlson. That would just be a more low-scale deal for them. But let's go ahead and look at the Angels and let me just scour their bullpen. Indulge me for a moment, and we'll go about 10 more minutes before we wrap up. And then if you want to hear more from me, the big show at 4 o'clock, KTGR app. We talk Mizzou, we talk Cardinals, we talk Chiefs, we talk Royals. It's a fun show. Luis Garcia if we're playing the old friend game, Luis Garcia's had some okay numbers in the Angel bullpen. He's 37 years old. So, I mean, not part of the future probably for them. I think that could make a lot of sense, depending on how the current coaching staff, the guys that were here then, remember him from a couple years ago. There could be something to that. They've also got Guillermo Zuniga. I don't know that he's currently on the roster, but I see he's got a 6.4 ERA and has pitched in 5 games for them this year. Amir Garrett floating around. Yeah, he hasn't pitched Zuniga since June. So maybe that Luis Garcia. I'll just throw that as a name out there. I don't know his contract situation, but that's kind of a fun one. Okay, I'll look at some more comments and I'll try to get out of here. You guys have helped me out today. Appreciate you guys making this worth my time. Wasn't any room for Yepes. Correct. Yep. Luis Garcia in 2021 is nails. He was good there for a while, wasn't he? Why did the Cardinals move on from Yepes? Yeah, they just didn't have room for him. That's all. Does the trade put the Cardinals over the roster cap so we need to send people down or trade to, right? Yep. I think Dylan, by the time this trade's ready to be announced, Dylan might be in limbo. They'll option him to Memphis, but they'll tell him just go home and hang out because we might be working something out. You don't actually have to report to Memphis. Something like that could happen. But the deal has not been announced yet. Like today is going to maybe happen without this deal announced. That's very possible. We'll see. Everything's up in the air. Chad Green from the Jays. Give up Carlson and a prospect. I could see it, depending on the level of prospect. The Grave of Einstein says, Dylan Carlson bros, it's over. Look, I was the Dylan Carlson bro. Ask anybody from last year. Believe me, there are people who remember that. I know from firsthand experience. But I would also say this is why I said I was buying Dylan stock the other night when things were going so bad for him, because I think there's a world in which he gets moved and we see him get that fresh start. And his stock was down to basically zero. Graham wants Vladdy and Fairbanks. Well, those guys are on different teams. So that's the first issue. But Walker, Hence, Carlson, Fermin, Herrera. Fermin has no trade value. Carlson has very little. But Walker, Hence, Herrera, yeah. I don't think you're getting Vladdy, though, without giving up some more top-end prospects. Somebody on Twitter pointed out this is the third team where Bloom was in the front office and Tommy Pham ends up there. That's fun. It's interesting. Mr. Duckman, how many moves would you guess they make going forward? I feel like that at least one reliever should be on the table. I think there's a move to bring in a reliever and a move to trade Dylan Carlson away. Those moves could either be the same move or they could be two separate moves. So that's the best way I could describe what I think is going to happen. And it's just my speculation, right? I don't know for sure. We're just all kind of riding through this right now. Einstein says, tells the story of a pitcher who's fine but isn't used to pitching that hard that long. That's Jordan Hicks. ERA 1 in April, 4 in June, 5 in July, 8 in August. Yeah, they're going to move him to the bullpen and then perhaps figure out a way next year to lock him back into that rotation. Because if he's a starter, he's only $11 million. That's a good price. Ben D asks, would you have preferred Luis Robert over Tommy Pham? Sure, but that's a different trade. You give up big-time prospects for Robert, whereas Pham's a rental that fills a specific role and still allows Tommy Pham, Michael Ciani to play, which is good. If I didn't welcome Alex to the membership, I think I did, but appreciate you joining with us there, Alex. Grand Slam Scotty says a T-shirt that says peace with a picture of me doing the two-finger peace sign. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know why I ever started doing that, but now it's kind of tradition. Low-hanging fruit shirt would be great. Get Charlie Marlowe's ugly mug on a shirt with mine. That'd be fun. That would be fun. All right. Soto for Carlson. Colton's making fun. Yeah, that wasn't... We've relitigated that one. Chris wants an S-tier player in exchange for C-tier talent. Well, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want that? Bill says go Cards tonight. Eric, Luis, what's his face? Who the Cardinals traded for in 2019. Are you talking about Garcia? I don't remember when they got Garcia. Or if there's another Luis that you're thinking of. Herrera to the Jays for Vladdy, since they just dealt Danny Jansen. Gonna catch him all because he's Danny Jansen. That's a niche reference. And I think you would need a lot more than Herrera to get Vladdy. Josh wanted Dylan to be good so bad, and so did I. Redbirds is a believer, 12 and 24. Jared says, good day for the Redbirds. Thanks for the live stream. Appreciate you. Will DeBeast is here. Go Dodgers, he says. I think the Dodgers did well in this trade. Everybody got what they needed in that 3-team trade. Why not keep DC? Let Pham be his mentor. Michael, I just think it's time. And there's also a roster crunch. They got to get somebody off that bench to get Pham into it. DC could just be sent down, but I think they'll try to trade him today. Pham could play with every team in the league. He is no clubhouse positive. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Tommy Pham's whole thing, his aura, probably you get tired of it quick, but for the time that it's there, if it's a 2-month stretch like it's about to be, that could be the perfect length on a Tommy Pham stretch. TJ McFarland, another name, blast from the past, from 2021. Juan Yepes, a victim of roster space. Michael, you nailed it. You nailed it. Okay. Guys, I'm about to wrap this thing up. I need a bit of a break. Elliot, thank you for the support. Condor, were the teams interested in Carlson named? I named them. John Denton actually named them. It was the Angels, the Guardians, and the Nationals. I think if it's a Guardians trade, it's somebody that's not on the roster that you're picking up. If it's a trade because of the fact that they're contending. If it's to the Nats or Angels, you could grab a short-term leverage or just a short-term relief option who's not in a long contract from either of those teams. Dylan Floro, Luis Garcia were the two names I looked at real quickly and saw. The Nats might have even more options than that, too. Michael says, Disc Golf times Cardinals fans, let's go. You're going to be happy about something here soon if I can pull this off, my friend. Related to B-Schaeff Daily and Disc Golf. That's all I'm saying. The Grave of Einstein likes Alexander Albertus, who went to the Sox from the Dodgers. Maybe he's a good player. They needed to get prospects. I think they did fine in this trade. I like Miguel Vargas as well. Cheers for the stream at a respectable time, says Grand Slam Scotty. Peace. Yeah, he's always in the middle of the night when I'm streaming. Doesn't work out for him. Looks like everybody here wanted to sign Carlson for 10 years, $300 million. Well, the Cardinals didn't, so that didn't happen. Spencer, I think he's the opposite of a clubhouse positive. He's too self-centered. Not to say that his fire won't help. Rusty Nail, Spence. Rusty Nail can work out for a couple of months. I think he wants to win, and that's what makes him a positive. He'll do it at all costs, even the cost that might upset the apple cart from time to time, and that can work out too. Jackie enjoyed the stream. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap this up. I'm going to post it on my B-Schaeff Daily podcast feed. Please subscribe on Spotify. Go give me a follow and a 5-star review on Spotify. Charlie, I outlasted you, baby. I outlasted your stream. I saw you were live. I saw you had like a ton of viewers in your stream, and I said, I have to try to battle him. I have to go for it because I don't know when else would be a great time to stream other than this. I love Charlie. Everybody DM Charlie on Twitter and tell him that low-hanging fruit needs to make its triumphant return so we can break down this Cardinals trade deadline together. That's what's going on. All right, that'll do it. Appreciate you guys as always. We'll talk to you next time on the B-Schaeff Daily live stream and on the Brenden Schaeffer St. Louis Cardinals Writer channel. Peace.